Hi everyone, Ryan here with another Uncomplication. This is going to be a big one today, crypto flavored. We've watched the market bounce up by about 30%, and I have a lot of thoughts as to what, why, and how it is going to do what it does next. I also wanted to share that it was really, really exciting to sell by auction my painting last week. And a huge thank you to the purchaser, a new Instagram friend of mine. It was really cool to see him receive that and be excited about it and hang it up. So that's how I'm planning to continue to monetize my efforts here. I've been making a ton of art, and it is really exciting and satisfying to have people enjoying it and people buying it. I've been selling art locally here. I've got 2 walls. I've been invited into all of these artist collectives, and it's just been a cool chapter. So I've had a lot of people say, why don't you do NFTs? You're talking crypto, why don't you do NFTs? And you can see here in this video that's playing this NFT that I drew, sitting and meditating on the feelings of the Bitcoin bull market in 2021. And this will be my first NFT. I'm going to release them with this video. I'm still figuring out the pricing, but if you check out the link in the description, you can be one of the owners of this limited edition first Uncomplication NFT. You can see all the little Bitcoin musings happening here in real time. This is kind of a replay of me drawing it. But just letting you know, that link is in the description. Check it out. You might be one of the lucky few who gets to own this first NFT. And okay, let's get to the video. Big one today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Cheers. And let's talk crypto. Gosh, it's so funny. It's so funny. But even with the little rise in Bitcoin's price back up to the 20,000 area, it's been fun to see all of the DCA buys that I've been making since April, just to see that balance be up. And it reaffirms what I have believed, is that the reason why I'm so long-term bullish on Bitcoin and crypto is because you can take a group of people and you can fuck with them, and then all you have to do is make their account balances go back up a little bit, and everyone, I'm being very hyperbolic, but I'll just talk about my own experience. And I find myself back in this same like, ooh, look at my wealth growing. Look at these numbers going up. And I'm just like that, ready to forgive and forget and dive back into the arena. And it's so much like an abusive relationship. It's crazy. It's like the one that just kicked you in the gut and mentally and physically abused you, now is acting nice again, giving you a little sugar, and oh, okay, well, maybe it'll be different this time. That's just my experience. Let me know if you feel the same. But here I am again. Here I am looking at crypto. I've got a lot of other stuff in my life, and so I'm very, very grateful that I have, that I've had the story that I have had, that I got off the roller coaster when I did, and I've just been focusing my energies in all of these beautiful places. My whole environment is completely changed, from the dark garage where I used to be sitting just like miserly trading cryptos all day. Now I've got this beautiful little corner that I've made with all my paints and lovely flowers, and yeah, it's just a nice place. So what am I doing here yammering about crypto? I thought it was only sensible. The last couple of videos that I posted that were crypto related were these prediction videos, and it's always funny, as soon as you buy crypto or say something about crypto, you kind of tie yourself back to the crypto roller coaster, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, it becomes more in my awareness. So I at the beginning of the year was making these very long-term call them predictions, but really what I try to share more than anything are just these base concepts and understandings that have been helpful to me. They might be right, they might be wrong. I'm not going to claim that I'm 100% sure in any of this. I just enjoy sharing the perspective that has been useful to me to not get so tied to the roller coaster ride. However, I made certain assumptions and predictions, and shortly thereafter we saw like a, I don't know, I have to go measure it, but 20-30% increase from around I think it's like 16,000 when I posted up to 22,000 today. And so I've had people saying, give us an update. And my basic premise stays the same, is that when things are going up, it's easy to get right back into that mode of just wanting to see the future that you want to see. I mean, it was fun for me to check out my account balances this morning and just see that everything's up. It makes me feel that desire, that greed to see more. And people have been talking about altcoins again, and it's like the whole cycle can start to slowly build that momentum again. But are we out of the woods? I don't think so. I'll show you why. But I also wanted to just like dive in and kind of do my own assessment, but share it with you so that you can see how I think about this, not because I'm thinking about it right or wrong. It's just another person perspective. So I have up here, this was my spreadsheet from way back in 2021 when I was a crypto crackhead and was meticulously tracking everything. And I just wanted to go back and see what I was holding and what the value would be today if I had still held on to this. So I call this my 420 portfolio because it was on 420 that we had, I would say, kind of the playing out of that Wyckoff prediction. And this is when I was bailing and just selling off pretty much everything. So I went from a 420 portfolio to my Wyckoff portfolio, where I basically sold all my Bitcoin and I moved into ETH, because if you go back and watch some of the second video that I ever did, that was the big crypto videos, I had this theory at the time that everything was rotating from Bitcoin into Ethereum, and so was able to catch a little swing there. Then I had an ADA portfolio for a while where most of my money was rotated into ADA, and then eventually I sold off all of that. So now I'm really just back DCAing. But I mean, here's what I was doing in 420 before the crash. And this sheet has not, I don't think it's been touched. So, I mean, at the time I had put $23,000 into Bitcoin. And if I had just left it, that would be a 54% drop from just all of the places that I had bought it, the times I had bought it. ETH 23% down, Litecoin 56% down, ADA 55% down, Link 77% down, XLM 78% down, Algo. And in these other portfolios, I added some different things. And I don't want to show you all of this. This is old enough that I feel comfortable just like, here's where I was. But yeah, and I was buying some of this on debt. So I was also tracking the debt that I was using, which I put all of this back. I was very fortunate to just be able to, make the hard decision when I did and start rotating everything back and putting the pieces of my life back together before it got really ugly. But had I not, I would be sitting at $55,000 down, which is just like gut wrenching. And if that would have happened, I probably would be divorced right now. Let's just be honest. Here's crypto from my mom, because at a certain point I was like ruthlessly pushing this on my family. This is the future. Why would you have your money in fiat? It should all be in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I ended up sending her about $1,200 in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that would be down 75%. So anyway, I just bring this sheet up because these are the projects that I was in 2021. This is just a little snapshot of where I was, and so I want to go today and I want to kind of look at each of these in turn, because I don't often look at altcoins. I don't often, I just, you can go on YouTube and find all kinds of people that are spouting all kinds of stuff about all kinds of things. And so I would rather not get into that. But what I'm willing to do today is to just take a high level look at each of these, maybe just these top, 5 or 6, and just make some observations. I haven't looked at these before the video, so this is kind of like live on the fly. And okay, before we even do that, let's talk about Bitcoin. And we've had this rise back up to 22,000, almost 23,000. And so what does it mean? Are we out of the woods? It's so funny. I kind of feel these, the greed impulse, and I haven't been watching crypto YouTube, and I don't think that's something I'm going to start again. But from what I've just caught out of my peripheral vision, there are people that are like, in TradingView, which is really the platform that I hang out in the most, there's different ideas that people post, and you can see whether they're short or long on a lot of them, and just read analysis. And it's funny to see the people in here. There was one I was just reading by this woman who called herself like the president of the Hopium Alliance or something like that, and it's just so funny to see all of the different perspectives, and you can really feel the bias in all of them. And so I just showed you, like, I narrowly avoided being $55,000 in the hole because my religious fervor for this space would have left me with my pants down before I got wise of Wyckoff and the cycles and how it all works. And so that's my bias, is I'm like, dodge the bullet, but see the gunman, and his sights are still trained on me. So I'm very, very timid. I'm very nervous to get back in the, like, this is the future, we're all going to be saved by this. That's my bias, so just know it. So I don't know if I have a bearish bias, because at this point, like, I'm accumulating in these low prices, and I'm set up to profit when prices go back up. But my question is, like, have I spent enough time down here? This is the whole idea of a cause, in that Wyckofian view, the accumulators and people like us even, we have this long window where we can build a stockpile so that when the narrative changes, we've got a lot of reason to be bullish. We've got a lot of reason to be selling it and selling the vision, selling the future. Everyone collectively together is what gets new people in, and the new people have the money that is going to buoy this market. That if you see prices rise, it's because people are coming in and they are exchanging dollars for a vision of growth. And so it's not until we're all kind of rinsed of that past trauma and ready to embrace that abusive lover again, that those people are going to be coming in droves to see the buoying of the market. So, okay, let's go to the actual, let's see the full chart here and do what we do. So here's the trusty rusty BLX, the brave new coin liquid index, which is my favorite chart to draw on. The reason for that is that it has the longest tail of data, so we can really go back in time here and see this history playing out week over week, month over month. I do look at all of my long-term zoomed out charts on the logarithmic scale. You are able to see the relative amplitude of these moves in a way that makes it a lot more intelligible. So if I go on just the standard chart, I can't see anything in these past cycles. It just doesn't register, because when you're scaled to moves from 20,000 to 60,000, you're going to lose all resolution of the moves that went from a few $100s to a few $1,000s, but those percentage moves are even larger. And so let's see it. Let's see what the net effect was of people's fear and greed, and that's the way I choose to look at these. So anyway, okay, let's zoom in here. Let's just see what's going on with Bitcoin, and let's talk about what we think might happen next. It's super cool to see these giant blue candles. So these are weekly candles. We had one that, in 1 week, this was what, 20%? 22% from open to close, and then if we kind of go up to present, 33%. So that's great when we're looking at that spreadsheet and talking about, some of these projects being 50, 70% down for the king of cryptos, Bitcoin, to be making a 30% gain. That's something we just haven't really experienced in a little bit. What does Bitcoin do when there are moves to the upside? Well, if it is at the end of one of these halving cycles, and we can see how many we've had now, you can get these big sustained moves to the upside. When we are trending sideways and we have these moves up, they are invariably followed by moves back to the downside. And that is what I am expecting. 33% gain in a sideways market is a time for profit taking, especially on the smaller scales. So for anyone who saw an asset go 30% up on a sideways market, there is selling pressure, and that is what comes in. And that's why, I'm always looking at these RSIs, not because I'm trying to time anything with them, not because I'm trying to predict anything with them. I just like seeing the swings. I called it the Wyckoffean heartbeat, from oversold to overbought, from oversold to overbought. And we still might have a little bit more room to go up here, potentially. But what goes up must come down. And I'm going to show you another layer of xRay vision of how I'm thinking about this, because it's not just like, there's the narrative, and I would call that sentiment analysis. And that I think is really important. So, I started with my spreadsheet just to say, like, I've got biases here. I'm not going to be easily fooled again. And a lot of other people aren't either. And a lot of other people are sitting in the negative. And so unlike these past weeks where we were at the same price value, $22,000, that's the same level that it got to on the 14th of December in 2020. But it was able to sustain that move to the upside because there was a lot of desire and intense participation. The cycle had played itself out. There was a long time to wait, and the rinsing out, the cleaning out that had happened after the 2017-2018 peak, when it got back here, there were new people to hear this narrative, and it was able to sustain that growth. Are we going to just bounce out of here? I don't think so. And the xRay vision that I'm talking about comes in the form of these really cool liquidation maps that Cello in the Crypto Garden turned me on to. So here, this is on Binance. And if I had a pro account, I could see more of an aggregate of all of the big exchanges. I could look at individual ones, but Binance, I think, is as good as sticking your finger up in the wind. So this is a map. I've shown these here before. This is the current value, 22.8, and this is from like an hour ago when I actually ran the numbers. This is showing the levels at which people will get liquidated in the positions that are open on Binance. And so if I take a look at this and I'm thinking like the market maker, I'm thinking like Binance. Binance is not the market maker, but they are the exchange. So they also have, an interest here. Where is the liquidity? Where is the money? Where is the liquidation clusters that if the price moves to, it's going to create the liquidity in the market? It's almost like, and I'm just pulling an analogy out of my butt here, but the liquidity is what is allowing this exchange to continue, because there is a finite supply of these cryptos. And so if everyone just bought them and held on to it, it would create this out of control price move. And that's not what a market wants. A market wants to be cycling. It wants to be freeing up liquidity, because the exchanges, the market makers, they're the ones who keep buying the other side of the deal, so that there is crypto there to buy. So anyone can whip out their Coinbase app or their Binance account, and there will always be liquidity there to make these trades and then resolve everything. So all of that means that when we look at a map like this, here's where the liquidity is. There are pockets of open liquidations in the 25,000s. There are these ones that have been hanging out for a long time, all the way up 30, 38,000, 40,000. There's some spikes of liquidity that are hanging out in open positions. But if you're just looking at this, just blur your eyes, and where is the density? Where is the liquidity? And it is to the downside. So right now, there's these little pockets of liquidity, but if we go back down to 21,000, look at all of this liquidity that is going to be freed up. And if we go even farther down, 18,000, 17,000, all the way down into the $14,000 range, there's a lot of liquidity there. So my premise is that when I'm looking at a chart like this, if I'm taking a look at this big move to the upside, but I know that the liquidity is in a range between 21,000 and 14,000 in these different pockets, here is the range where price is likely going to hang out. Because the more it moves to the upside, the more these long positions start opening up. Someone's believing the hype that, we're going to blast off, and you missed the chance to buy 16, but don't be late in buying 22 before we rocket up to 50 or whatever. And then it comes back down, and then we bounce around in this range. We're trying to test these upper bounds, but then we come back down. And so what looks like this sort of battle of the bulls and bears is really just a healthy market, setting people up and shaking people in and out to keep that liquidity going, so that when we do finally get to $22,000 and we mean it, and we've absorbed all that liquidity up to a tighter range, that now the liquidity that we're going to be going after as the market maker, as the mover, is going to be higher. And so we'll start moving higher. And I think that there's like different competing interests that all play into this. So I think you have kind of the short-term interests of the market makers and the short-term traders, and then there's also the bigger long-term narrative, because people like me and a lot of others are just accumulating, stockpiling, not paying attention. And so there will come a time, I think, and this I could be totally wrong at the timing, but the sentiment and the need to get more people into this narrative, believing that Bitcoin is the lifeboat, is the savior, that happens at a certain point when there are enough people that are invested in that idea, that when the price starts to elevate, we can get these wild runs like we have seen time and again, where we're not just going up by 30% and then coming back down to rinse everyone out. We're doing one of these larger Wyckofian cycles. The last time in 2020, 2021, we had a 300% move to the upside before that preliminary supply was injected, to have that little correction take us on to our buying climax, and then go through this whole Wyckoff distribution event. So yeah, I feel like I've already said quite a bit. Crypto Fear and Greed Index, this is another place that I like to come and look. We're at neutral, right? And it has been low. If I just go to the year, this is the highest we've been in that fear and greed since April of 2022. So yeah, and this is I think pretty indicative of a kind of that bearish sideways market movement, is that as we're cruising along and then we get these runs up and all of a sudden, you know, we're past neutral, we're into that moderate greed, is when selling happens. Greed means there's buyers, and then the cycle comes down. Okay, I'm gonna actually follow through. I don't always do this, but I'm gonna just, okay, what was on that spreadsheet? Ethereum, Litecoin, Cardano, XRP. Let's just take a look at those 4. Psych! I am not going to follow through. I actually am going to save that whole additional part of looking at other projects. I recorded it, but I'm going to release it in a couple more days because this was like 45 minutes long by the end, and I will break it up here. So go check out my NFT. The link is in the description. And yeah, stay tuned for more. Talk to you later. Cheers.